Welcome back for another video. I spoke to 3 FPL World Champions to see their final FPL teams for this season. I'm going to show you all 3 and then we're going to break down what we can learn from the 15 players they've picked, the formations they're running with and their strategy for the start of the season. It's my pleasure to be partnered up with a brilliant fantasy football scout for this season. It's my 8th year as a member and half of those predated when I even started making videos, which says it all. They truly are the best. The depth of member tools speaks for itself. You've got player comparison, which is broken down into all stats, fixture ticker tool, data tables. All the data I mention in these videos come from there. You can search my name under public tables to use my ones or make your own. You get award-winning articles every week, but my favourite of this season is the recalculated points for all players with the new defensive contribution rules, plus the bonus changes, the assist changes and also position changes. You literally can't get this anywhere else. Use the link below to get 40% off with my link, and it supports the channel as well. Jonas Sand Låbakk up first, a good friend of mine, and he became world champion in 2023-24 with the second most points of all time. His team for 2025-26 is Sanchez in goal, Pedro Porro, Williams and Murillo in defence, Salah, Palmer, Bruno, Anderson and Paquetá in midfield, and Watkins and Mateta up top. And he's got a bench of Dubravka, Anderson from Fulham, Esteve and Mark Uy. I asked for some manager thoughts from the champion as well, so we can basically get some insight from them, and Jonas said to follow him. Sanchez is nailed in my team now. I think he's worth it over the 4.5 mils and the 5.5 mils. I am on double Forest defence, which I think looks the best in this structure, but it is a bit risky. Paquetá will be on pens, and he'll play 70 to 90 minutes every game, I reckon, and therefore he's an interesting punt for 6 million in my opinion, with a great opening fixture. Salah and Palmer, I don't need to say much. Bruno's good for goal involvements and defensive contributions, and the newest addition is Mateta to my team, who I'm not totally sure about, but he does have a special place in my heart after Chemic 34, the season I won FPL. Fun fact, he says, Mateta averages 29 points every week that I've owned him in FPL. And the bench, he says, Guy and Dubravka I'm unsure about, but I can't see anyone else being value. So Jonas is on double Brentford defence, or obviously triple overall with Anderson in midfield. A lot of managers have been looking at those defensive contributions, and that's where Murillo's excelled. And Williams as well, in fact, he got more than any fullback last season, and he does have goal involvements in him as well. And of course Anderson, who hit the 12 required DCs threshold in 55% of his games, so just over every other game he would have got you 2 extra points. And it's worth noting, lots of those games earlier in the season, he wasn't starting every match, and he wasn't playing 90 every match. He is a proper analytics pick, and it's going to be really interesting to see if over the season these DC players hold up, or whether we just get too frustrated with the slow, boring trickle of 4-pointers. He was never in the conversation last season when he was 5 mil, which really shows the shift. Now he's 5.5 and in a lot more teams. This is the first time I've seen Paquetá. Obviously he's been cleared of those charges and it's an amazing opening fixture, Sunderland away. You can do worse for 6 million, plus as he says, on penalties. I'm sure he's feeling like he can play with an immense weight off his shoulders now, which is definitely something we can overlook in FPL, like the human side of the game. I struggle to critique this team honestly, because I've landed on a draft that really resembles this one. I had Tielemans over Paquetá, but other than that, very similar structure. It sounds like I'm basically saying I did copy the champion, but as you will have seen from my team selection video a day or two ago, it did have lots of similarities. And I am only seeing this draft now for the first time like you are. If you are enjoying this content, make sure you do hit subscribe below, it's completely free. Daily videos coming throughout the season, and more to come before the deadline. Alright, so you've seen my team, you've seen Jonas's, they're fairly similar. How about a very different looking team? Simon March became FPL World Champion in 2014-15 and he's got a bunch of top 10k finishes as well. He's opted for Sells in goal, he's got Cucurella, Frimpong and Diouf in defence, so a completely different set of keepers and defenders. In midfield he's gone with Reinders, Salah, Palmer and Rodgers, and then he's got Wood, Watkins and João Pedro up front. So it's a different formation as well. And he's got Dubravka at concert, Esteve and King on his bench. Here's what Simon had to say. Most of the changes from my previous draft are in defence again with a reshuffle and a shift in strategy. I can't help thinking that the introduction of defensive contribution points this season has meant that attacking defenders haven't come with quite the price premiums that they might have otherwise, and that maybe there's an opportunity to exploit there. With that in mind, Cucurella, Frimpong and Diouf, who provided 36 attacking contributions between them last season, have all come into my squad. I have an alternative draft with Porro and Nate Norrie in it as well, so we'll see how much I'm willing to commit to that theory. Reinders is an addition to midfield. Like many, my head was turned by his brace against Palermo in their final friendly, but there's reason to believe that this is more than a one-off given his record, 15 goals in all competitions for AC Milan last season, and a good number of those came from deeper positions, suggesting that he poses a threat wherever he starts. City have a history of providing us with goal-scoring centre mids, and FPL have a history of underpricing them, so I'm hoping that this will be the latest iteration of that trend. At 5.5 mil, the questions over Reinders' game time feel like a risk worth taking. Really good insight from Simon there. Of course, Rodgers injured his ankle in pre-season and we feared the worst with that one, but he has been seen in training since, so if you really wanted Rodgers and you'd ruled him out of your drafts, he's still an option and you'd fully expect him to start Game Week 1 now. His ownership's plummeted due to the flag as well. Last time we recorded one of these, he was 23% owned. That's almost half to 12%. The upside just doubled. I love the Reinders pick. Don't get me wrong, he won't do nearly as well as the other 5.5 mils for defensive contributions like Caicedo and Anderson, but he's such an exciting pick and he's got an eye for goal. Simon mentioned his goal involvements across all comps. He played 37 times in Serie A, where he got 10 goals and 5 assists. Now, where he's deployed will be a big factor. But obviously, he's going to be much better for points if he's playing as an 8 or a 10 in his favoured roles as opposed to a 6 in defensive mid. You're also counting on Pep to play him every game, and that's where the other 5.5 mils could sneak ahead if he's not playing every game. But if he immediately nails down a spot, he's got potential to be by far the best 5.5 mil mid. Annoyingly, in Liverpool's press conference just this morning, no one asked about Bradley's injury. Like, if he's out for a while, then Frimpong's appeal goes through the roof. Though, for all we know, Bradley could be in the Game Week 1 squad, so that'd be a concern. It was worth noting though, Bradley wasn't in the squad at all for the Community Shield, their last game. I know some of you feel like he's nailed regardless. I'm a bit unsure still at the moment myself, which puts me off risking it. 1 goal, 1 assist he did get in pre-season in fairness. Diouf also caught the attention of a few managers. He's only 4.5 mil. With Sunderland away to kickstart the season, he looked really dangerous in those pre-season matches, assisting Bowen in one of them. Should have got a second assist that same game. So Simon has spread the money around into attack and he's kind of balanced the money really well across all positions here. Whereas I know some of you are running with a midfield that looks like Salah, Palmer, Bruno, Wirtz and maybe Anderson, and obviously having all those big hitters does mean you've got sacrifices elsewhere, such as your defence or maybe you've got a really cheap front line. The final team belongs to Joshua Bull, who's a genius mathematician. He graduated from Oxford University and his team is Kelleher in goal. Like Simon, he's got Cucurella and Frimpong, and he's also got De Kuyper and Vardiol. In midfield, he's got Mente, Salah, Palmer and Marmoush, and up front Watkins and João Pedro. I don't remember any FPL season quite like this one, where there's so many great options for Game Week 1. And as such, we had Jonas on a 3-5-2, we had Simon 3-4-3, and we got Josh on a 4-4-2. Given there's so many great options, I think it's going to be really important that we back ourselves this season. We've spent this entire pre-season tinkering, planning, watching videos, researching, and we just need to back our picks now and not make panic transfers in Game Week 2. I love the Marmoush pick. The big conversation over pre-season has been Wirtz versus Bruno, but maybe it should be Wirtz versus Bruno versus Marmoush. City have got the superior fixtures, there's no denying that. KDB's gone, so he should get a ton of minutes, could be a regular starter. Last season, he had 4.6 points per match. Bruno had 4.8. Haaland, by the way, 5.8, so not significantly more. None of the champions have got Haaland, which is perhaps a telling trend there. Will that be the right call though? Like last season, let's not forget Haaland scored 10 goals in the first 5 games, and he was worth 15 million when he was doing that. And then of course Salah went on that historic run. The bench is quite light, I will say that here. He's got Rodon, who's really the only reliable starter. There's no reason why someone in the starting 11 could miss a game, but you never know, like injuries or, if Pep decides not to use Vardiol or Marmoush. I don't think either of those situations are likely. I think they're both going to be great picks, but you just never know. And the last thing you want is a Leeds defender auto-subbing on. That could be asking for trouble. Jonas had Anderson first sub, Simon had Concert. They both had a Stev as well, I think, so they've basically got 2 nailed starters. Almost forgot about Kelleher actually. He's got Kelleher in goal, who's of course yellow flagged. I asked Josh what's the plan if he's still a doubt as we get very close to the deadline, and he simply said he'll opt for another one of the 4.5s. Salah's ownership has really slid over the last week, especially after the Community Shield. He's no longer the most owned player in the game even, he's 6% behind Palmer. Never rule the GOAT of FPL out though, he's never blanked in Game Week 1 in history. Let me know which of the 3 drafts you liked most. Obviously you never know what you're going to get back when you ask the champions for their teams, but you couldn't ask for a more balanced variety of teams, can you? And maybe one of you watching this video right now wins FPL this season, and then we could do one of these next season. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks to the champions. Make sure you subscribe for another video coming later today. See you soon for the next one.